So good day. For today, we will be discussing about validity and reliability. So is it important to consider these factors when crafting a tests? So malalaman natin ngayon kung importante nga ba yon or pwede na nating i-neglect. Before we start our formal discussion about reliability and validity, let's try to answer these assessment questions. First question. Students were taking a tests in physics. The coverage should be in Newton's law of motion up to the projectile motion. But the test items focused on electricity and magnetism. Despite that, the students' scores are consistently positive. So is it valid or not? Please choose your answer. You could write down it in your notebooks. So, hold muna tayo sa answer ninyo. Question number 2. Almost the same question. So, is the test reliable or not? Please choose your answer. And last question. Question number 3. In developing a task, which should be prioritized first? Validity or reliability? So please choose your answer. A. Reliability. B. Validity. C. Both or simultaneously prioritized. And lastly, none. D. None. So, i-discuss natin yan, mga right answers after the formal discussion on reliability and validity. So, in the scenario, ang na-cover na ituro, siguro, ni teacher, ay mula sa Newton's law of motion up to the projectile motion. But then, nung nagbigay siya ng examination, ang naibigay niya is about electricity and magnetism. Pero, yung sagot ng mga bata ay consistently na tama. Sa tingin nyo kaya, valid pa rin at reliable pa rin yung exam? Diba? Katanggap-tanggap pa na gamitin yung tests? So, dahil tama yung mga sagot nila? Or mali na hindi dapat natin gamitin kasi nga naman hindi yun yung na-cover na ituro? Let us first discuss validity. So it refers to the truthfulness, it refers to which test measures what it intends to measure. So, a test is valid if it measures what it should measure. Kung ang naituro ay projectile motion, dapat ang i-measure ay projectile motion. If not, then that is not valid at all. Okay. Validity also checks the degree of the test, the degree of difficulty, the degree of length, or the degree of administration, di ba? Yan ang chine-check ng validity. So, ano ba yung degree of difficulty? Sobrang hirap ba ng exam? Itsura pa lang ba ay parang hindi na masasagutan? Ganon. So, parang itsura pa lang ay napakahaba na, aabutin na ng 10 hours yung pagsasagot ng exam. Is it valid at all or not? So, validity has different phases. Okay. Meron tayong tinatawag na phase validity. Pag sinabi natin phase validity, itsura pa lang, katanggap-tanggap na. Mukha na siyang tama. Mukha na siyang pwedeng gamitin. Pag sinabi na naman natin item validity, the items are correct. Okay. So, and lastly, pag sinabi natin content validity, yun yung tinutukoy kanina. If the coverage is projectile motion, then the measurement should be projectile motion. Ayun yung tinatawag natin content validity. That the content measures what it should measure. So the validity of the test is determined by measuring the extent to which it matches with a given criterion. So when we are checking the validity, merong criteria dapat na sinusunod. And that criteria has may level of degree. Highly valid, valid, slightly valid, and not valid at all. Or pwede naman, valid and not valid lang, depende sa inyo. Pero it should have a criteria when checking validity. Now, we will discuss the phases of validity on the next video. So, let's proceed next to reliability. So, reliability, it refers to the consistency of scores obtained by some individuals when retested with the test on different sets of equivalent items or under other variable examining conditions. So, it also refers to the consistency of measurement, how stable the test scores or other assessment results from one another. So, based from the scenario na ibinigay, despite of the difference in the content coverage, the responses are still consistently positive. So pare-parehas almost yung sagot nila na tama. Meaning that the instrument is reliable. Kasi most of them have the same response. But reliability can be affected by many factors. So, halimbawa, kapag nagpasagot ka ngayon at nagpasagot ka in 3 weeks time, after 3 weeks, so pwedeng mag-iba yung responses ng mga bata. Why? Because of the mood. Diba? Malay mo, wala na sila sa mood. Malay mo, nireview na lang nila yon at the first hand, then kinalimutan na nila after nila matake nung una. Or maraming factors na pwede maka-apekto sa reliability. So, i-discuss natin yon next time. Yung mga factors na nakaka-affect sa reliability. But reliability just focuses on the consistency of the responses. Kapag consistent yung responses ng mga estudyante, then the instrument is reliable at all. So, is validity and reliability important when developing an instrument or a test? Yes, it is important. Kasi yung validity, it checks the content. Kung appearance pa lang, yung organization, diba? Yung pagkakasunod-sunod, logical. Yung laman ba niya ay na-hit, diba? Or covered yung dapat niyang ma-measure. Tama ba yung mga questions? Grammatically correct ba yung statements? So, yun yung chine-check sa validity. And reliability, chine-check naman kung consistent yung answers. Bakit kailangan i-check kung consistent? Malay mo, very scattered yung responses, halimbawa. Very scattered yung responses. Meaning, siguro hindi para sa kanila yung exam. Hindi akma sa kanila yung tests. Baka may iba't iba silang perception on that. May iba-iba silang pananaw. Diba? Or, yung intelligence na required para masagutan ng tama yung exam ay napakataas. Kaya very scattered yung responses. Kaya, important na makita natin or ma-check natin yung reliability as well. So let's focus on the figure. So, first figure, sabi dito, it is reliable but not valid. Why is it reliable? Because, as you could observe, the responses are concentrated on one region. Okay. Not valid siya kasi hindi niya na-hit yung gitna. Ibig sabihin, hindi niya na-hit yung dapat ma-measure. Okay. Next, low validity. Why low validity? Medyo malayo sa gitna. Medyo malayo. Hindi niya na-hit yung target. Low reliability. Bakit low reliability siya? Kasi though nasa first, second, and third line sila, pero magkakalayo naman sila sa isa't isa. Medyo reliable siya kasi nasa first, second, third line. It could represent the difficulties, diba? Or degree, dami ng tamang sagot. Pero scattered yung mga question siguro na tama yung sagot nila. Kaya low reliability siya. Next, not reliable and not valid. Not valid, napakalayo sa gitna. Hindi niya na-hit yung target niya. Not reliable kasi magkakalayo sila. Very scattered sila sa isa't isa. Okay. So, hindi nila, as you could see, yung lines, di ba? May nasa first line, second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line. So, kung yung line nagre-represent ng dami ng tamang sagot, then very scattered sila sa isa't isa. Next, last figure, they are both reliable and reliable and valid. So, self-explanation na lang yan. Now, let's try to answer the questions. So, is the exam or the test valid or not? No, it is not valid at all. Kasi, hindi niya na-measure yung dapat na i-measure. So, is the exam reliable or not? Yes, it is reliable because the responses are consistent. So, maraming explanation or maraming factors na nakaka-affect kung bakit consistent yon. Pero reliable yan. And last question. Question number 3. In developing a task, which should be prioritized first? Validity or reliability? So please choose your answer. A, reliability. B, validity. C, both or simultaneously prioritized. And lastly, none. D, none. So, i-discuss natin yan. Mga right answers after the formal discussion on reliability and validity. So, last question, in developing a test, which should be prioritized first, validity or reliability? Of course, it should be validity. Kailangan, bago natin i-administer yung instrument or yung test, dapat tama muna ito, dapat valid muna ito. Diba? Kasi kung hindi valid yung exam at the first place, then it is not usable at all. Walang kwenta yung exam. So, next review video, i-discuss natin further yung about sa validity and reliability of instruments and tests. So, I hope na may naintindihan kayo, and if you have questions, you may ask in the comment sections.